You ever have one of those days where you're standing on the edge of your own $1 million saltwater infinity pool, tray in hand, iced tea sweating in the sun, and out of nowhere, some woman with a tennis visor and a Yorkie tells you straight-faced, "Excuse me, the amenities aren't for the hired help." Yeah, that happened. That was how my retirement in paradise started a scene so absurd I nearly laughed in her face, except the lemon-pursed look she gave me said she meant every word. See, I bought this house, my dream home, after 45 years in the trenches of finance. I'd seen market crashes, outlasted corporate sharks, and built a business that was my legacy. This place, this pool, was my reward. So having a stranger materialize on my patio, sizing me up like I was there to mow her grass, hit a nerve I thought I'd retired along with my three-piece suits. I tried politeness, gave her an exit ramp. "I think you've got the wrong house. This is my property." She didn't even blink. Just let her eyes drift over the outdoor kitchen and manicured lawn like she was inspecting a rental. "Your property," she drawled, stretching the words. "The Whitmans lived here for 20 years. They wouldn't sell their home to, well, just anyone." The pause told the whole story. You know what I mean. For a second, I thought about all those boardrooms where I was the only black man at the table in the 1,000 little ways. Folks would test you like you had to keep earning your right to exist. But I'd promised myself I was done fighting those battles. Apparently, I'd lied. "Well, they did," I said, smile thinning out. "I closed last month." And then, as if I hadn't spoken, she rolled right into her next move. "I'm the treasurer of the Homeowners Association," she said, like it made her the Queen of England. "And I find it hard to believe someone like you could afford a place like this." "Where is the owner?" That was it. The mask was off. I put down my tray, firm, slow. Old instincts kicked in, the ones that don't age or retire. "Ma'am, you are trespassing on my property. I'm asking you for the last time, leave. Now." The Yorkie barked. She clutched it like a purse and hissed, "Well, I never. You'll hear from the HOA board." Then she vanished, storming across my lawn like she owned the damn grass. I stood there a while, watching my iced tea melt, knowing in my bones that what just happened was the opening scene, not the whole show. And sure enough, over the next week, my quiet corner of suburbia got real weird. Neighbors suddenly discovered an urgent need to weed the flower beds every time I came out for the mail. Cars crawled past a little too slow. The local grapevine was working overtime, and I was the main attraction. Still, I tried to brush it off, focused on setting up my office, unpacking, making my house feel like home. Then came Saturday sun blazing, grandkids laughing, cannonballing into the pool, a perfect day until two teenage boys I'd never seen strolled through that same gap in the hedge towels, slung pool noodles ready. And right behind them, there she was, let's just call her Carrie, flanked by her walking apology of a husband and a battalion of kids' arms loaded with chairs, a cooler, and a unicorn float that could block out the sun. They paraded onto my patio, dropped their stuff, and Carrie started directing like this was her own backyard. Her kids splashed my grandkids, who shrank to the pool steps, eyes wide. It was so bold it was almost impressive if it hadn't been my house. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a message. We run things here. You're just visiting. I killed the grill, walked over, slow, and said loud enough for everyone, "This is a private residence. I believe I made that clear the other day." Carrie hit me with the fake smile, syrupy sweet. "Oh, we just thought we'd come by for a swim." The Whitmans always let the neighborhood use their pool community tradition. You know, the Whitmans don't live here anymore. I do. This isn't a community pool. I'm asking you all to leave. Her smile vanished. No need to be selfish. There's plenty of room. But I could see my grandkids scared, shrinking from her pack. That was it. This conversation is over. Off my property, now. Her husband started packing up, mumbling, "Maybe we should go." But not Carrie. She squared off, arms folded. "We're not going anywhere. You have no right to change that." That was her mistake. She thought I was still playing by her rules. I pulled out my phone. "Fine. I gave you a chance. Now the police can escort you out. The second I dialed 911, you could feel the air change. Kids stopped splashing. Her husband panicked. Unicorn deflated. But Carrie, her face twisted into pure rage. You're calling the police on me for swimming. No, for trespassing, I said, eye contact steady. Yes, operator, I have a group refusing to leave my property. Carrie came at me, finger jabbing. You'll regret this. My brother-in-law is a city councilman. I'll have your job. She must have missed the part where I'm retired, no job to take. By the time the police rolled up, 2 officers, one young and nervous, one older and steady. Let's call him Officer Williams. Carrie had taken her stand in the middle of my pool, arms crossed, determined to play the martyr. She was banking on the script. Frail white woman in distress, dangerous black homeowner. She started spinning her tale before they'd even introduced themselves. This man threatened us. He called us names. I was in fear for my life. But Officer Williams wasn't buying. He looked at the scene, looked at me in slacks and blazer, looked at Carrie, dripping in the scattered towels, and just got it. He came over, voice, even, sir, can you tell me what happened? Name's John. This is my home. She and her family trespassed, refused to leave, became belligerent. It's all on camera. Carrie shrieked. He's lying. This is the community pool. But the moment had passed. The other officer relaxed, and the dynamic shifted, calm authority on my side, flailing drama on hers. Ma'am, Officer Williams called. I'm going to need you to step out of the pool. I will not. If you do not, you will be arrested for criminal trespass. Her face fell. She looked around, saw nothing but steely resolve, and finally waded out, sodden and beaten. That walk of shame, water squishing in her shoes, was something to see. Afterward, Officer Williams gave me his card, told me I could file charges. As he was leaving, he leaned in. People like her, they don't let things go. Watch your back. I just nodded. Been watching my back my whole life, officer. But thanks. He smiled tired and left. That piece I'd worked for gone. Carrie went full-on HOA warfare. Within days, the violation letters started. First, a $50 fine for grass 1/4 inch too high, complete with a photo arrow, the works. Then a $200 fine for unapproved exterior modifications, my security cameras, which I'd installed for protection. Then garbage can infractions, deck stain, color, you name it. It was death by paper cuts, all orchestrated by Carrie. But she didn't know who she was dealing with. I documented everything, scanned every letter, kept every photo, let her build the case against herself. I started digging public records, board minutes, contracts. The landscaping company, her brother-in-law's, the paving company, registered to her house. This was a racket, plain and simple. I started talking to neighbors, quiet at first. Old Tom down the block, the couple with kids across the street. Turns out everyone had a horror story about Carrie. Fear and exhaustion, that's how she ruled. But under the surface, there was resentment. All it needed was a little spark. I gave them that. Called a backyard meeting, laid out everything, the fines, the fake traditions, the financial ties. If 15% sign a petition, we can call a vote and remove the board. We don't have to live like this. The room erupted. In 3 days, we had double the signatures we needed. I delivered the petition and a formal notice of breach of fiduciary duty to Carrie's door. Her husband flinched when he saw me like I was serving a warrant. Give these to her. She'll want a lawyer. A couple days later, a venomous notice was posted, special meeting called. She tried to paint me as a liar, a troublemaker, but the tide had turned. At the meeting, residents lined the walls. I asked the questions. Sarah and Tom backed me up. Prove you're not stealing from us. Show us the books. She couldn't. I called for a vote. 90% wanted her gone. When the gavels fell, Carrie's reign ended. The cheers echoed down the street, but I knew it wasn't over. 2 weeks later, security cam caught her husband, crowbar in hand, sneaking toward my pool equipment. I watched him in night vision, then flipped the floodlights and played my recorded message through the speakers. Wave to the cameras, Gary. Attempted vandalism is a crime. He bolted, tripped, and disappeared. I called the DA in the morning, and that video was the last nail in the coffin. Civil suit, criminal charges. Carrie faced RICO for running a corrupt enterprise, her husband for attempted vandalism. The neighborhood finally rallied. Her friends evaporated. The councilman disowned her. She was indicted, lost her house, forced to write a public apology, admitting everything for all the neighbors to see. The new board rebuilt the community. We threw a block party, funded a legal defense fund for HOA victims. And I thought, finally, peace. But then a year later, an application crossed my desk. A young black family in a new suburb harassed by a Carrie Smith. You guessed it, Carrie. New name, new trick, same old hate. I reactivated my law license, led the fight myself, and within weeks had her removed, her parole revoked, sent back to prison. This time her reign ended in days, not months. The final twist. Months after, I get a letter from her ex-husband, Gary. He tells me standing up to Carrie saved him. He got his paralegal certificate, wants to work for my fund, wants to help others fight people like her. I hire him. Together we help families win against bullies like Carrie, turning her legacy inside out. So that's the story of how one woman's hate turned into a crusade for justice, and how her own sidekick became my greatest ally. Now tell me, do you think anyone can really change? Or does power just find a new face? Comment below if you've ever tangled with an HOA, or if you think justice was finally served. And if you're facing your own Carrie, don't back down. You never know who'll show up in your corner.